Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. A warning before we begin. Today's episode contains serious and potentially distressing subject matter, including allegations of abuse. Listener discretion is advised. A new memoir by Virginia Giuffre has placed Prince Andrew under renewed and serious scrutiny just days after he relinquished use of his royal titles. Nobody's Girl, obtained in full by the BBC ahead of its official release today, is the first-hand account of Miss Giuffre's experiences with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Much of the book is harrowing in detail, with Giuffre alleging that she was abused, trafficked, and forced to have sex with Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions, once she claims in a group setting involving Epstein and approximately 8 other young women. Prince Andrew has always denied any wrongdoing. In 2022, he reached a financial settlement with Miss Giuffre, accepting no liability. In the memoir, Giuffre writes that she first met Andrew in March 2001. She says Maxwell woke her up that day and told her, just like Cinderella, she was going to meet a handsome prince. When introduced, she claims Prince Andrew guessed her age correctly. 17, she recalls him saying, "My daughters are just a little younger than you." That evening, they attended London's Tramp nightclub. Giuffre says the prince sweated profusely. Afterwards, in a car, she recalls Maxwell telling her, "When we get home, you are to do for him what you do for Jeffrey." Back at the house, she writes, they had sex. He was friendly enough, but still entitled, as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright, she writes. The next morning, it was clear Maxwell had conferred with her royal chum because she told me you did well. The prince had fun. Giuffre writes that Epstein later paid her $15,000 for the encounter. She alleges a second encounter in New York and a third on Epstein's Island, where she says Epstein, Andy, and approximately 8 other young girls and I had sex together. She writes, the other girls all appeared to be under the age of 18 and didn't really speak English. Epstein laughed about how they couldn't really communicate, saying they are the easiest girls to get along with. The memoir states the incident occurred on Jeffrey Epstein's private Caribbean island, known colloquially as Little St. Jeff's, a reference to Little St. James. Giuffre writes, I was not in great shape, claiming she later woke up in a pool of blood. She also alleges that none of the men she was trafficked to used protection. The book includes Giuffre's recollection of her civil settlement with Andrew. I agreed to a 1-year gag order, which seemed important to the prince because it ensured his mother's platinum jubilee would not be tarnished any more than it already had been. While many of the claims have circulated previously in press coverage, Nobody's Girl presents them in Giuffre's own words, framing them as part of a broader network of exploitation involving powerful men. She writes, in my years with them, they lent me out to scores of wealthy, powerful people. I was habitually used and humiliated, and in some instances choked, beaten, and bloodied. I believed that I might die a sex slave. On Friday, Prince Andrew announced he would no longer use the titles Duke of York or Knight of the Garter. He remains a prince by birth. MPs, including Rachel Maskell and Stephen Flynn, have called for that too to be removed. Maskell said, it's incredibly strange that you can give a title, but you can't remove a title. Flynn added, the family of Virginia Giuffre, whose life was destroyed, are angry and aghast, and they both deserve to know that some MPs share their outrage. Meanwhile, the Metropolitan Police say they are actively looking into reports that Prince Andrew asked a protection officer to obtain personal information about Giuffre in 2011. According to the Mail on Sunday, Andrew provided her date of birth and social security number to a member of the elite SO14 royalty protection group in an attempt to uncover damaging information. He is also said to have involved one of Queen Elizabeth II's most senior aides, Ed Perkins, and told him he had asked his protection officer to dig into Miss Giuffre's background. The publication claims it has seen an email sent by Andrew just hours before a notorious photograph of him with the then 17-year-old Giuffre was released. In it, the Duke reportedly wrote, it would also seem that she has a criminal record in the United States. I have given her DOB and social security number for investigation with XXX, the on-duty PPO. Her family denies she has any criminal record. The Metropolitan Police confirmed they are actively looking into the claims made, though at this stage it is not a formal investigation. Broadcaster Emily Maitlis, who conducted Andrew's infamous Newsnight interview, told the BBC's Sunday with Laura Kussenberg that she was glad the Met were taking the claims seriously. If there have been people responsible for trying to make her life even more unbearable than it was, then I would like to see justice done, she said. One question to be answered: how did Prince Andrew come into possession of Giuffre's social security number? Former Protection Chief Di Davies called for an investigation, saying, "There's a lot of questions to be asked. Who said what to whom? How did Andrew get her social number in America? How did he get her date of birth? Did Epstein or Maxwell or anyone else obtain those for him?" Di Davies called the allegations scandalous, saying if, and I say if, there's any evidence of criminality, then that has to be carefully considered. He added, clearly the government themselves would have to act in terms of his status still as a prince. Unanswered questions also remain around the estimated £12 million settlement paid to Miss Giuffre in 2022. Andrew has consistently denied her allegations and admitted no wrongdoing. However, the source of the funds remains opaque. There has been widespread speculation that the late Queen may have contributed to the payment using private income from the Duchy of Lancaster. According to The Sun, the memoir also recounts the now infamous Newsnight interview in which the Duke of York attempted to refute Giuffre's claim by stating he had been at Pizza Express in Woking on the night in question. Giuffre says in the book, "As devastating as this interview was for Prince Andrew, for my legal team it was like an injection of jet fuel. Its contents would not only build up an ironclad case against the prince, but also open the door to potentially subpoenaing Sarah Ferguson and their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie. Did he really take Beatrice out for pizza on March 10th, 2001, as he claimed? If we deposed the princesses, his family members could potentially poke holes in his alibi." Elsewhere in the memoir, Giuffre repeats her claim that Epstein aimed to collect compromising material to blackmail powerful figures. She writes that he wanted to film people in compromising positions, though she expresses uncertainty as to whether he ever succeeded in doing so. The Mirror quoted a royal source as saying, "Andrew has been asked plainly what else was likely to emerge from his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, but said he could not give any guarantees. The scandal has engulfed the royal family for far too long, forcing the king to intervene and effectively banish him from royal life." A royal aide speaking on background told the BBC, "The headlines are taking a lot of oxygen out of the royal room." More palace in just a moment. King Charles and Pope Leo will make religious history as they become the first British monarch and Roman Catholic Pope to pray side by side at a church service since the Reformation in the 16th century. The landmark event is scheduled to take place during the King and Queen's state visit to the Vatican, with the service held beneath Michelangelo's iconic ceiling in the Sistine Chapel. It marks a profound moment in reconciliation between the Church of England, of which the King is supreme governor, and the Roman Catholic Church. The ecumenical service will focus on the shared commitment to environmental stewardship, an issue close to both leaders. The choirs of the Sistine Chapel, St. George's Chapel, and His Majesty's Chapel Royal will unite in song as Anglican and Catholic clergy participate together in prayer. A senior royal source noted the symbolic power of the moment, calling it an act of unity unthinkable just a generation ago. Alongside the Sistine Chapel service, the King will attend another historically resonant event at the Basilica of St. Paul's outside the walls. Once supported by Anglo-Saxon monarchs, the abbey has long been linked to the English crown. During his visit, the King will be made a royal confrater of the abbey, a spiritual title honouring his lifelong dedication to interfaith harmony. A bespoke seat bearing his coat of arms will remain in place for future visits by Charles and his successors. Charles is the latest royal to get in on the world of podcasting, alongside Academy Award-winning actress Cate Blanchett and Kew Gardens seed scientist Dr. Eleanor Bremen. The discussion, recorded in secret, has now been released as the opening episode of the 4th series of Unearthed, a podcast produced by Kew Gardens. The episode praises the work of the Millennium Seed Bank, a project he helped launch 25 years ago at Wakehurst, Kew's Wild Botanic Garden in Sussex. "I think it's wonderful what the seed bank is doing," he said, "but we've got to speed up the process." The Unearthed episode is now streaming with 3 additional installments set to follow, focusing on the past, present, and future of the Millennium Seed Bank. After a few exhausting weeks of work, William and Kate are on holiday again. The children are on half-term break, which is a great time for the Prince and Princess to rest up before a busy Christmas season and the big move to their new home, Forest Lodge, on the Windsor estate. Former BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond told The Mirror they've come in for some criticism for the number of overseas holidays they've taken over the past year, so perhaps this half-term will be one to spend at home. If the renovations at Forest Lodge are still underway, I expect they'll head up to Norfolk to enjoy the wide open skies and sea air. Once the break ends, royal calendars will resume at full speed. November brings William's Earthshot Prize ceremony to Brazil, marking the first time the environmental award has been held in South America. Meanwhile, Kate is preparing for the return of her Together a Christmas Carol concert at Westminster Abbey, which last year featured performances by Paloma Faith and Gregory Porter and heartfelt moments acknowledging her own health journey. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, and all these social media hubs. Come by and say hi. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue and good times.